Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon or good morning. Depends on when you are watching this particular video. For this particular topic we will continue on the question documents. Okay, so let's begin. So here are the learning outcomes. Simple, must be able to describe handwriting examination and also the ink analysis. What can you do with it? Okay. So as the introduction, okay, document examination includes analysis of handwriting and also detection of forged document. So bila we talk about document examination, we talk about either document is forged or you would like to analyze the handwritings. This is the most common things being analyzed for document examination. Okay, so a question document is any documents, signature, handwriting, typewriting, or written marks where the source of authenticity is in dispute or uncertain. So we dispute the authenticity of the document, regardless either you would like to know either document is authentic or not, the signature is authentic or not, handwriting is authentic or not, okay, whatever it is. Okay, so as long it refers to any documents, signature, handwriting, typewriting, or other written marks, and those things are in dispute, so that is we refer to as the question document. Okay, right. So a lot of the question documents, okay, are required to be analysed in the real life in the application of forensic science. Okay, for example, tengok for the next one. For example, okay, checks. Okay, adakah checks itu mempunyai tanda tangan yang original from the owner? Is the number written on the check is right intended by the yang mengeluarkan check lah, who actually produce the check. Okay, alright. Certificate, is it true or not? For example, is the certificates, the degree certificates, the PhD certificates obtained or shown by that particular person is legit or not? Wills, okay, wills, is it written by the passed away person or not? Okay, or by the disease? Okay, so wills, one of the important. Passport, okay, passport, a lot of fake passport. Okay, license, money also fake money. Okay, letters, contract, suicide notes, is it really a suicide notes written by the suicider or not? Okay, a lot of other things. Okay, a lot of other things. Okay, falls under question document of analysis. Okay, so the one that will do the analysis on the forensic science lah, will do the analysis on the question document. We call them as the document expert. So the document expert is different with the graphologist. Graphologist is a person who study the characteristic of a person, okay, the personality of a person based on the handwriting, based on their handwriting. Okay, in the study of forensic science, graphologists cannot be accepted as easy as that because the is depends, okay, on the subjectivity. Okay, somebody may have the high skill level of handwriting, but maybe it's unrelated at all with their IQ. But okay, but that is the thing lah. You cannot accept as easily as that, as simple as that lah. Okay, in the forensic science for the graphologist. So it's different for document expert, it's document expert, graphologist is the graphologist. Okay, graphologist is graphologist. So let's go for the handwriting. Okay, so handwriting is one of the most common, okay, analysis procedure in the document examination, because we would like to know the auto shape of the handwriting. Okay, so let's say for example you find the suicide note, you would like to know, is it the suicide note coming from the deceased or not? Okay, if the will is written coming from the deceased or not? Okay, so we would like to know, okay, either the one that who written the check is coming from the one person or not. Okay, alright. So auto shape can be determined through the handwriting. So there are numbers of characteristics we can look at to identify either the question document, okay, is coming from the same authorship or not lah. So can you guess either this particular question document is coming from this particular specimen or from the same authorship or not? Okay, so if I look over here, we can see the few characteristic that we can look at. Let's say for example the spacing, the line, okay. Based on the formatting, the spacing, okay, is quite consistent with the specimen and question, okay. See, and also some of the characteristic of characters, okay. If you look at the writing, the G, okay, the G here, okay, they are quite consistent. How they connected, the S, okay, the curvy, okay, a lot of other characteristic. Later we will look one by one lah, each of the characteristic of the handwriting that we can look at. So the characteristic of the handwriting can have the natural variation. Even for the same person, okay, we can have our own variation. Boleh berubah-ubah even ditulis oleh seorang individual. Okay, for example, okay, the use of different type of writing instrument, macam saya pun sendiri, if I use a different type of pens, my variations in writing can also appear. Okay, so they can affect. Let's say for example, if you write using marker pen, it will be a little bit different if you are using a normal pen. Okay, the mood as well. Okay, if we are angry, we put a lot of pressure, let's say for example, so it can give us a little bit of variation. Age as well, as we ages, okay, it can also affecting our what we call variation in the handwriting. How hurried we are in the situation, the relaxed person will have better handwriting than a hurried person. Okay, right. So we can have these particular things, factors, okay, which will affect the variation of us during the writing. So although these particular factors can affect our handwriting, we can still have our unique handwriting style. Okay, so although this particular factors can affect our what you call variation in handwritings, but it won't, okay, totally change the uniquity, okay, the uniqueness, okay, of our handwriting. So still have some of it which is still comparable, even though it's coming from different factors. Okay. Okay, so for the characteristic of handwriting, okay, so we can divide them into 12 handwriting characteristics, and they falls into 3 categories lah. We can say something like that. Okay, so 3 major groups. Okay, 3 major groups, whatever it is lah. So first one is the letter form. Okay, the letter, the form of the letter, the size, the completeness of the letter. Is it, for example, the G, is it a proper G or just a simple G? Okay, the cursive, either it's cursive or is it totally printed as a printer one? Okay, how the shape is it slanting or is just straight, or you have the fancy curls or loops? So we focus on the letter form, bentuk, okay, the character. And then we look at the line form. The line form is the line of the writing. Okay, the line of the writing of the form. Okay, either is thick due to pen pressure. Okay, is it thick or is it thin? Okay, the line quality, is it good or is putus-putus? Okay, the line habit and so on. Okay, right. And then we look at the formatting. Okay, formatting is the most simple thing that you can look, the spacing between the letter, the spacing between the above line and also the lower line. Okay, the lower line of writing, the placement of T's, dots and so on. Is it continuous? Is the letter is connecting and so on. So these are the 3 major groups. Okay, a lot of characteristics we can look at for the handwriting analysis. Let's look on the first characteristic we can look at. The first one, the size consistency is the ratio of height of each of the character is consistent or not. For example, the first line is quite consistent. Okay, the second one is most consistent. Okay, So all the words they have the all consistent height. Okay, the ratio height. Okay, if you look the last one, okay, is quiet different. Okay, the first letter usually the highest one. The subsequent letter will be quite smallest one. Okay, if I look at myself writing, this is my pattern lah. So different people they have different pattern. Okay, so 12 handwriting characters we can look at. Very difficult for us to copy them exactly or alter them. What we call as the effectively. Okay, if you want to like, because it's come in natural handwriting. Okay. So the second one is the letter, is it complete or not? Okay, is it complete or not? Okay, for example here F, is it complete or not? Okay, the G, okay, the E, okay, alright. So that makes the letter complete or not. Okay, so some of us we have some letters either is complete or not. I've also not realized what kind of the letters that I'm writing, is it complete or not. So we can look at that. Okay, cursive and printed letters. Okay, for example, here is quiet cursive. Here are link, and they are both. Okay, so F is printed letters. Okay, while they have a mix of cursive as well. And here is totally printed lah. Okay, totally printed with little bit of cursive. Okay. The next one is slant. Either is to the left, is to the right, or is straight. Okay, like this is quiet. Menegak the proper one. This one is moved towards the left. This one is moved towards the right. Okay. So you have the fancy curls or loops. Okay. For example, myself, I have fancy curls on my G. Maybe I can call them fancy, but even though it's not that fancy. Okay. So we can look at that. Okay, as the one of the obvious characteristic we can look at. Pen pressure, okay, is it with moving on the line form, pen pressure, how much pen pressure we put at, is it it's too much, either it's not that much, or something like this. Okay, unequal pressure, okay, be on situation where you it's too cold, gigil, okay, you are shaking, so it can also affecting the line form of the writing. The next line form is the line quality. We look at, is it the line quality is smooth or shaky. Alright, so line quality. The next one is the line habit. Either it's straight on the line, or it's leave under the baseline, or slant up from the baseline. Okay, so dia sama ada menegak ataupun turun ke bawah ataupun naik ke atas. So we can look at the line form as well. And we can also look at the spacing. Okay, now we look at the formatting. Okay, the spacing between the letter, the spacing between words. Okay, so we can look at that. Okay, so either is equally spaced or crowded and so on. So in this particular situation, okay, the space between words is quite large. Okay, here the space between the letters is quite consistent lah. Okay, so we can look at the spacing. Okay, the spacing between the above line and the lower line as well, we can look at that. Okay, so there are spacing that we can look for the handwriting characteristic analysis. The placement of T's or dots on I. Okay, me myself forgot to put the dots. Okay, so depends on the handwriting. Okay, so the dots here is too small. Okay, the dot is quite consistent. Sometimes the dot is jabbered, sometimes it's no dot. Okay, sometimes it's maybe in circular pattern. Okay, depends. Same goes with this. Either it's properly crossed. Okay, is it heavy? Is it more to the left or to the right? Okay, is it is concave or convex? Convex, something like this. Is it uncrossed, okay, or short? Depends. So this is some kind of small characteristic. Okay, even though you're trying to manipulate your handwriting, so the uniqueness of it is still there. Okay, if you are writing without realizing, okay, much on the characteristic that you can alter them. So most of the time the uniqueness will still be able to be observed. So it's quite difficult lah. Okay, it's quite difficult for somebody to cheat on the handwriting. Okay, so the next one is the continuity. Okay, is it continuous? Here there are some spaces that is not continuous. Okay, so that is one of the characteristics on. The last one we can look at the connecting letters. Okay, some of the letters, if you write them, you will connect them. Let's say for example T. If you write the T, you always connect with the next letter you write after that. Okay, sometimes let's say for example, if we don't have the right example here, let's say R. Sometimes T is connected, R is not connected. That is some of the unique characteristic we can look at. Okay, so there are numbers of the handwriting characteristic we can look at. So later, if let's say for example I do what we call in the test or in the final or in the quizzes, so probably I give you the set of the handwriting, so you need to analyze based on this particular 12 categories. Okay, right. Next we move on the handwriting analysis. Okay, for the analysis of handwriting on the 12 characteristics. Okay, so what you need to do, okay, is quite simple. It's most applicable on every analysis of the forensic evidence. There are 3 basic steps. Okay, for fingerprints they have 4. Okay, right. So the first 3, the most basic one is the analyze. You analyze each characteristic and then you compare them. You compare between the specimen and also the question documents. After you have compared, and then only you can evaluate either they are coming from the same source or coming from different source. These are the basic methods of analysis in any forensic evidence. You analyze first. Okay, you analyze whatever appear on the surface, beneath the surface and so on. Okay, on the handwriting, we look on those 12 characteristics or 3 major categories. After you look at both, okay, you analyze whatever characteristic above, so you going for the steps 2. So you go for the comparison. Okay, the keywords for the second step is compare. After you have compared, then only you can produce your evaluation. Either they are coming from the same source or not coming from the same source. Okay, later we will look into the terms that you can use. Okay, let's say for example, if 100% similar, what is the verdict? If let's say it's not match, what is the verdict? Later we will look into the standard term lah you can use. Okay, here is the evaluate. Okay, as I mentioned before. Okay, here is the thing that you can do yourself. What do you think can become challenge to handwriting examination? So this is the thing that you need to look by yourself lah. Okay, so challenges in handwriting analysis. Here example that the few example of challenges. The quality of the standards obtained often determined by the quality of the comparison analysis, and exemplar may be difficult to obtain. So exemplar ni apa? Exemplar ni adalah contoh. Okay, so the exemplar may be difficult to obtain in certain situation. Let's say for example for wills, orang yang dah tua-tua ni susah. Okay, contohnya macam kalau kata orang tu dah tua-tua, dah hospital, tiba-tiba dia tulis will, sedangkan last kali tulisannya maybe 5 or 10 years ago. Kalau ada pun mungkin tulisannya sangat sedikit. So contoh yang ada the exemplar, okay, untuk obtain within that particular period of time, okay, is limited. Okay, may be difficult to obtain. Nak compare dengan wills dia mungkin little bit difficult. Sama juga contohnya dalam case orang tulis dalam keadaan tergesa-gesa, okay, the exemplar is quite difficult to obtain. Sebab selalunya bila you collect from the suspect, okay, untuk tulis semula dia dah dalam keadaan yang berbeza. Okay, the good exemplar susah nak obtain. Okay, insufficient characteristic in the exemplar would limit the ability of the comparison. Okay, Okay, so limited characteristic. Okay, sometimes you require the person to write so many times to get a good characteristic lah. Okay, sufficient characteristic. The effect of mood, age, drugs, fatigue and illness on a person and handwriting can affect them as well. Okay, dia akan bagi variation lah. Although as we can say, still some uniqueness to be there, but because of this particular variation, it can also affect the degree of the certainty in the handwriting analysis. Sebagai contohnya, kalau saya nak tulis the suicide note in the place of the victim, okay, saya bunuh dia, so I want to make as a suicide note, mungkin saya tulis dalam keadaan tergesa-gesa sewaktu ketika itu, so the writing what might be different, okay, when we compare with the one that is normally written at the good condition, okay, not hurried condition. Mungkin sewaktu contohnya orang tu want to commit suicide, dia dah minum drugs, so dia tulis dalam keadaan yang tidak sempurna. Same goes to sebagainya orang yang tulis wills, okay, so mungkin the family have dispute because of dia tulis wills dalam keadaan lemah dan sebagainya. Apa yang dia tulis tu mungkin dia datang from the original source, tetapi disebabkan keadaan yang sakit dan sebagainya, the handwriting is not similar to what he have before this. So those can affect lah. So ini merupakan cabaran-cabaran dalam handwriting analysis. So now let's go on the collection of the handwriting. So the collection of adequate number of known writings or exemplar is very critical. So kita kena ambil collection of handwriting yang mencukupi. Dia tak boleh contohnya kita minta dia tulis balik dalam satu kali sahaja. Dan sebolehnya if we want to collect the exemplar, so kita kena collect dalam keadaan yang dia tidak tahu yang dia perlu tulis semula untuk examination on that particular handwriting lah. Okay, so you can make him writing the same one, but of course you need to make him to write the others one as well to give you sufficient exemplar. Tapi sebenarnya saya kata tadi, ada cabaran dia adalah ada masa yang kadang-kadang you tak sempat pun nak boleh nak ambil exemplar. Sebagai contohnya for the disease lah. Okay, kalau case of suicide, kalau case of the disease, maksudnya dah meninggal dunia, untuk wills, so that would be quite difficult for us to obtain as this exemplar lah. So the situation, okay, if possible, you need to furnish as similar as possible to the question document. Sebagai contohnya lah, exemplar yang you minta dia tulis mesti you peroleh dalam keadaan yang sama sebolehnya. Okay, for example, kertas jenis kertas kena kertas yang sama. Kalau sebelum ni dia tulis atas tisu, so you need the person write back on the tissue. Let's say kalau kata dia tulis on the piece of cloth, so you cannot collect the exemplar yang ditulis di atas kertas. Boleh tu boleh, tetapi the debateness untuk adakah dia boleh sama ataupun tidak sangat tinggi lah. Sangat suka untuk dipertahankan. Okay, what else? The condition, okay, contohnya the type of pen, okay, the type of what we call the type of material they use. That is the thing that we can handle lah. Tapi something yang we cannot handle, contohnya kalau sebelum ni dia makan ubat ke, dia tak sihat ke, ataupun hurriedness ke tergesa-gesa ke, yang tu we cannot control lah. So that is what become a challenge lah for us. Okay, so exemplar also contain some of the words and combination of letters present in the question document. So jarang kita minta dia tulis benda yang sama on the question documents, sebab kita tak nak be suspicious when during the writing lah. So kita akan buat combination of letters present in the question document. That is selalunya yang kita buat, dan selalunya not as easy as one copy collection of the handwritings. Kita akan minta few sets of copies lah, okay, untuk kita buat, okay, penulis itu secara tidak sedar menulis dalam keadaan yang natural lah. Okay, dalam keadaan yang natural. As the time of the writing and genuine and unknown specimen become greater, the standards tend to become less representative. As mentioned before, each can also affect the handwriting. Penulisan kanak-kanak itu berbeza dengan penulisan orang dewasa. Orang dewasa itu berbeza juga dengan orang yang tua lah. Okay, macam saya sekarang ni, saya tulis makin malas. Kalau dulu tu elok lagi lah seketul-seketul. If I'm writing right now, probably you like a medical doctor writing lah. Okay, dia jadi makin malas, dia makin cincai lah. Okay, so probably we try to contain, okay, we try to observe, okay, the exemplar within the 2 or 3 years. Okay, sebagai contohnya, kalau kata we would like to analyse for the wheels, kita kena ambil yang 2-3 tahun sebelum the time of the incident. Kalau lebih pada tu, selalunya dia akan jadi sangat berbeza. Okay, so what are the steps you can minimize the conscious effort of writing effort lah. Macam mana you nak buat supaya seorang itu dapat menulis secara unconscious lah. Kita tak nak dia cuba menipu, alter, ataupun dia tahu yang dia perlu ubah the handwriting. So kita kena bagi dia dalam keadaan yang selesa, without distraction. Kita tak boleh, yang second, kita tak boleh tunjuk dia mereka question document. Kita ke furnish mereka dengan similar, okay, similar handwriting punya material, kertas, pen dan sebagainya. The detected text should be the same. Sebagai contoh, kalau kita kata ada perkataan bunuh, mesti ada perkataan bunuh. Kalau kita kata letak ada perkataan 100, kita kena ada perkataan 100. Kalau ada pada pukul 10.30 pagi, kena ada perkataan 10.30 pagi. Okay, dia tak semestinya exact the same sentence. Okay, it can be different sentence, tetapi the words must be inside them. You tak boleh lah ambil penulisan yang lain, tak sama langsung dengan apa yang ada dalam question document. Apa yang ada dalam question document kena ada dalam exemplar. Cumanya sentence je tu boleh jadi berbeza, perlu juga berbeza lah. Okay, should at least contain many of the same word, phrases and later combination found in the document. So sebanyak mungkin, kadang-kadang kita tak nak kata exactly the same, tapi sebanyak mungkin tu perlu sama. Cuma jangan dalam keadaan ayat yang sama. Okay, buat dalam ayat yang berbeza lah. Okay, so the suspect must not be told either to use the uppercase or lowercase. Okay, so kalau you dah tulis kat situ, the best thing adalah you buat satu semua yang small case, ada buat the mix of them, or all the ni lah yang paling besar lah, maksudnya uppercase. Okay, so at least 3 time selalunya kalau kita minta kat sini, untuk kita ada Master of Forensic Science, selalunya kita minta pelajar untuk collect hingga 10 ke 12 untuk dapatkan orang kata exemplar yang bagus. Okay, so untuk signatures, jangan kita minta mereka hanya tulis signatures. Kita kalau kata kita nak lihat sama ada mereka fake atau tidak, we need to make them combine with the writings, several documents that require them to make a signature, supaya mereka secara unconscious menulis signature secara natural lah. Kalau kat sini dia minta 20 to 30 separate checks or receipts, okay, yang dia perlu tulis the handwriting dan juga perlu buat signature. You cannot compare by a single signature. If you asking me, my signature also can be different lah, depends on the situation. Sebagai contohnya, kalau kata I would like to put my sign for a proper document, I will put a very proper sign. Kalau kata just for simply or for the kehadiran sebagainya, saya akan tulis secara simple. Okay, so that's the thing that you need to do lah, how you can minimize the conscious writing effort lah. Okay, so ini macam kita kata tadi, okay, kena ambil 20 ke 30 signature. Kalau kata text, kena ambil banyak kali lah, at least 3, 5 ke 10 lah. So kena ada replicate. Okay, so for the collection of what we call handwriting, selalu kita akan guna alternative exemplar lah. So kita tak nak mereka secara conscious mereka dapat pasti, okay, tulisan apa yang mereka tulis sebelum ini. Okay, so selalunya kita akan tulis dalam keadaan yang sedikit berbeza. Okay, not exactly the same thing, but contains many words similar to the question document lah. Okay, Sebagai contohnya, yang ni merupakan the question document punya tulisan lah. Leave the cash at the old bridge by midnight. No police or you will never see you again. We are watching you. Okay, so you tulis, you ubah sedikit supaya dia tak perasan, dia tulis ini pada sebelum ini. So we plan to leave the cash at the old bridge by midnight, but there were no police or doctor around to see the event. You will never guess if a friend or family are watching again. Okay, so you have all the words, okay, or as many words as you can, but not writing the same thing lah. Okay, not writing the same thing. So ini activity sebelum ni, so you can try and put as the homework lah. So untuk forensic document examiners, okay, there are standards they need to follow. They call as the SWGDOC, right? Scientific Working Groups untuk document examination, Department of Justice, DOJ. Okay, alright. So yang ini guys lah, so you can refer to. This is the terminology when they want to express their evaluation or conclusion for the forensic document examiners. Kalau you say with confidence 100% similarities, okay, so you can put as identification lah. So it's properly identified. Okay, so if some features are missing, okay, you are a little bit uncertain, some just a little bit lah. Okay, so you can say strong probability. You can put the conclusion as the strong probability. For example 80%, 90% or 95%. Tapi kalau dia just more than 50%, so it's probable lah, probable. Kalau just a few features less than 50%, so you can say as the indication, okay. So it's very weak opinion lah, far from conclusive lah. So if they say only a few, okay, only a few has similarities, so you can say inconclusive. If they say not, almost not, so it's a very weak opinion. Okay, so indication did not, probably did not. Okay, probably not, you say is probably not coming from the same source. Just a few characteristic only match, only just a really few. Okay, strong probability did not, so you very certain it's not coming from that particular source. Okay, when you are very confident with the not similarities, so you can say elimination lah. Okay, that's the highest degree when you confidence that the document is not coming from the same source. Okay, they are not comparable, so we can say that elimination. Okay, so now let's go for the ink analysis. Okay, so ink analysis is quite interesting analysis. So one of the most common one for the document analysis other than handwriting, so they look at the ink analysis. Sometimes somebody put the checks, okay, put extra number in the checks to increase the value by using the same color of pen. Okay, for example, the black inks may look the same but maybe different in their chemical composition. So each manufacturer, they have their own recipes, so that helps for the analysis because different chemicals we can analyze them differently. Okay, if you have it in the spectroscopy, whatever and so on, okay, different chemical they can react with different radiation of wavelength. Okay, so most of the times the ink analysis we can differentiate based on their chemical composition lah. Okay, so in analysis for any forensic analysis, it will always begin with the non-destructive, and then you can use for destructive analysis. For non-destructive, okay, the most common instrument is the microscopic, okay, instrument. Okay, so under the microscope you can use the video spectral comparator. It's very interesting. Later you can find in the YouTube how they are actually utilized. Okay, for destructive you can analyze using the HPLC, solubility test, TLC and so on. Okay, so here's an example of TLC, okay, where thin layer chromatography, you put the dot over here, they will go upwards based on the capillary action and so on. So if the analysis coming from two different inks, so or two different brands. Okay, so they might raise upwards differently. Okay, here example of the mixture of individual parts. So that is the TLC lah. Okay, the next one is a video spectral comparator. This is quite advanced, the one that been used by the police and a lot of forensic agencies. We had it once in our lab, but it's broken right now. We need to find the budgets to repair them. It's require about 25,000 USD, 25,000 ringgit to 40,000 ringgit to repair them. If let's say for example you have a kindness behind of your heart, you want to give us that particular money, you can contact me lah. Just joking, okay, alright. So although based on the naked eyes, it can be seen quite similar and so on, okay, but under different lighting condition they might be different lah. So when we talk about different lighting condition, it means that we apply different wavelength lah, okay, different wavelength and so on. Let's say for example here, okay, so somebody put extra numbers over here. For example, the person writes for 9,000 checks, but he put the extra zero. He put the extra zero to gain $90,000. For example, this is supposed to be $841.25, become $341.25. So this particular video spectral comparator, under different lighting condition, we can look at either is it coming, okay, from the same ink or not. Okay, so we can see the alteration, okay, on the document. Okay, that's make why video spectral comparator one of the best method for the ink analysis. Okay, so video spectral comparator can also be used to look at the passport or other document to determine the authenticity, including your money. Our money also have the special characteristic and so on. So video spectral comparator can also uncover the layers. Let's say for example it has been scribbled out. Okay, so by changing the what we call wavelength and so on, we can uncover, okay, whatever been written underneath. Okay, so it's quite interesting thing about VSC lah. Okay, so here example for checks. Okay, for example, okay, cash for John blah blah for 9,000 and so on. It's actually 100 ringgit only or $1,000 only. So he adjusts, okay, the person, okay, adjust the check to become $9,000 lah. Okay, right. So sometimes the person love to write the empty check, so later just write for whom, how many, okay, that's all. But if you look over here, there's some alteration lah, okay, the alteration by the person who try to get more money. Okay, so the next one ESDA. If VSC we try to uncover the layer and so on, the electrostatic detection apparatus ESDA, we would like to reveal the text based on the indentation left lah. Okay, contohnya sebagainya, you tulis dekat atas permukaan dan you koyakkan the first layer yang you tulis tu. So behind it akan ada indentation, lekukan daripada tulisan yang on the upmost layer tu. So those indentation yang dekat bawah tu, we can still reveal the text lah. So this is quite interesting, okay, especially bila contohnya sebagai ada orang yang tulis dalam diary, the diary is torn away, how we can uncover the writing from the first page that have been torn. So you can use ESDA, okay, ataupun sebagai contohnya ada, sebab ni based on the real case, ada real case, dia claim doktor itu berikan prescription yang salah. So untuk tahu adakah betul alteration is made by the victim on the original document atau salah doktor tersebut. So bila mereka analyse balik daripada contohnya receipt untuk ubat tu, so dia look at based on the receipts, so mereka lihat tak ada yang salah sebenarnya. Yang salahnya adalah yang pesakit tersebut, dia yang ubah prescription dia. Okay, alright. So it's very sensitive. Even kalau kata dah sampai berapa layer pun, we can still looks at the indentation lah. So when do we need to use ESDA? Okay, itu macam saya dah bagi tahu tadi. That's quite interesting thing lah. So that's all I think for the question document analysis. Okay, so we go for the next chapter in the next topic lah, in the next video. Thank you.